Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL on Tuesday nights with more Gran Turismo action. Something slightly different this time, not a full season, but more of a free-race exhibition series in the Ferraris. Fezza Fest 2022, and we are starting at the Sardinia Road Track A. My name is Luke Etheridge. I'll be taking you through the action tonight and for the 2 weeks afterwards. You can see where we are racing at. Italy tonight, Spain next week, Germany in 2 weeks' time, in a very different format to what you are used to seeing so far at PSGL this season. We are going to have sprint races, which are going to give points. We'll go through that slightly more shortly, and of course the normal feature races, and it's a one-make series as well. Everyone driving around in the 458 GT3 car that is on this game, so more similar to what we saw in Season 1, if everything, when they were racing in the GT3 cars. And again, a bit more of a fun series, nothing majorly serious for now. I'm sure that won't be the case later on. I'm sure we will see the drivers taking it extremely seriously indeed when things go down to it. If we take a look at the track then for tonight's Sardinia Road Course A, on paper looks like quite a simple circuit, you know, heavily reliant on some heavy braking zones there. Brilliant overtaking opportunities in towards turn 1, in towards turn 9 and turn 15 as well, also providing fantastic opportunities for overtaking. And we'll go through what the format of the evening is going to be, because tonight is slightly different to what we're going to have for the rest of the series. So for tonight only, we're going to have our traditional 8-minute qualifying session to what we are used to at the start, and then we're going to have a sprint race, 12-lap sprint race. You've got to do at least 3 laps on the mediums and 3 laps on the soft tyres. However, you don't have to start the race on whatever tyre you have qualified on, because this is going to be the only night that we have a qualifying session. For the rest of the series, it's purely going to be based on how you are doing in the championship. So tonight's a one-off in a way. Only night we've got a qualifying session, so things will be a bit more different tonight. When it comes to Spain and Germany, it's all going to be based on the results of the previous races. So again, doing really well in the races is obviously going to help you quite a lot around here. 12-lap race in the sprint, medium and soft as a required tyre. 27-lap feature race with the hard and mediums as the required tyre. So different to last season, you can't have loads of every tyre. You can't use the hard, medium and softs in the race. You won't be allowed to use the softs in the feature race. And we are hearing from some of the drivers that one stop is just about doable in the feature race, but you might have to do a tiny little bit of fuel saving. The point systems for tonight then, because we have got a sprint race in the feature race, it's going to be the same as what we've seen all the way along, so no surprises there. 16 for a win, 12 for second, 10 for third, 8 for fourth, and then 6 down to 1 for 5th, down to 10th place. However, for the sprint race, there's going to be 8 points for the winner, and then 6 down to 1, the second down to 7th place, and no fastest lap available in the sprint race. But with still half the points available for winning the sprint as are available for winning the feature race, can't really afford to have too many bad sprint races. You're going to have to be on it pretty much right from the start, which obviously is great to see. Just going to go for a quick run through then of some of the drivers that we have got this season and the ones that we can expect to see throughout the season. VQS Cristiano, Prima Nono, TTV Petit Peptiat HU, YRS 2003, Hasnain 282, Solid Ninja Steak, of course, reigning 2-time champion here now in Tier 2 on PSGL GT, so expect to see good performances from him this season. Keplero GT, Jamie, also moving up from lower tiers, Jutango, Izinyang, Diogo Mora, UXS Ramirez, Lee the Reaper, and Pipo Roland. So a lot of these drivers have moved their way up through Tier 1, so, well, from Tier 2, I should say, in towards Tier 1, so it is a great opportunity for them. It's a great opportunity for them to sort of test themselves against the best, if you will. Test themselves against some really top drivers, and hopefully it won't be too long before we are going to get underway. It's also something that we're probably not used to quite as much. Fixed liveries. They are all running very similar liveries. You get to use different colours. I mean, we'll take a quick look then as they're going around in the practice session what I'm meaning by the different colours. So we've got a nice little red there on the Hungarian car, on Petit Pay's car. Solid Ninja Snake going for a bit more of a all black livery, trying to look very stealthy indeed, I am sure. We've got the nice silver there on Lee the Reaper's car. So yeah, quite a mixture of liveries, but they all have the same sort of general Fezza Fest feel to it. Quite a lot of, unsurprisingly, red cars, which is always going to be a bit confusing for us commentators. And I say commentators for a reason, because there is actually going to be two of us in the box tonight. Unfortunately, Webbo can't join us tonight. He should be back next week, but we have got a stalwart of the Gran Turismo game. We have got H Racing Green, aka Harry. And Harry, how are you doing?
How this is going to work. Up to you, but yes, thank you for having me if you can hear me. Yeah, we've been running for quite some time. But yeah, very happy to be here and happy to lend a hand in the commentary department.
What's your sort of feelings ahead of this season for the drivers? Obviously, you know, last season we saw a lot, and we saw it in the first season as well. Drivers saying, well, you know, one car's better than the other. If I'd have picked that car, I'd have been the one winning the title. There's no such excuses for that over the next 3 weeks.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, you know, we've got one of these shorter seasons where, you know, running full multi-car events probably isn't quite the way forward. So a level playing field with this one, slightly different rules. You know, we're introducing the sprint race and things. So hopefully we'll see some exciting racing. We've got a couple of top names. It's maybe not quite as stacked to tier 1 as we had last season, but we've certainly got some top class drivers in there, and hopefully should result in some good racing.
Yeah, definitely should. But I mean, one make series always tend to have really close racing. We've got 3 fantastic tracks on the calendar. Certainly, I'm looking forward to today's race. How do you think the sprint race is going to change how people approach the day? Because obviously, the sprint race sort of acts like sprint qualifying as it does in Formula 1, but there are a lot more points attached to it. So hopefully, we'll see a lot more overtaking than we generally get in sprint races in Formula 1.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously with these cars, you are going to get a little bit of dirty air from those big wings on the back. But in general, it should be close racing. This track has always been pretty good for close racing. It's one of the more favourable ones in the GT World Series. They like coming here because the racing is pretty good. Yeah, just the one qualifying session this season with this first round, and then we will be using sprint races to set the grid. And reverse championship order for the sprint races going forward. So, you know, we're trying out a format with these short seasons. It's a good place to try out some different formats. So, hopefully, we'll see that it produces something exciting, and then we may see this format in the full seasons going forward. So it sort of remains to be seen.
Yeah, definitely. I think watch your space, everyone. Pretty much the gist of that there. What Harry said, and talking about the GT World Series, we've got that coming up soon. We're also going to get a new circuit as well. It's been a while since we've had a new one. Road Atlanta, certainly one I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into. I imagine that's one we'll be seeing in future games. And as you've already mentioned, we have got a slightly different grid lineup to what we saw last season. Any early favourites just from the names of the grid? Anyone you think is going to do a fantastic job? And anyone apart from Solid Ninja Snake, do you think it's going to do a fantastic job out of those that have jumped up from tier 2?
For those that have come from tier 2, you know, I'm looking at the guy actually who's just joined the lobby, YRS. I think he's going to be certainly going to be someone who will show his quality. Go John, he's a solid driver on his day. He can really produce something quite strong. But I think the top 3 names you're going to be looking at are Yassi, Perez, Cristiano, and Prima Nono. They're 3 top class, you know, top 16 world finalist caliber drivers. So at the end of the day, I think we are going to be looking at those 3 as the title contenders this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, just looking at the grid, would have expected Perez to be up there towards the top. He's just having a bit of fun at the moment. We've got a slight bit of a delay before we head our way into qualifying, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too much longer before we are in. And a reminder, 8-minute qualifying session. This sets the grid for the sprint race, and then the sprint race will set the grid for the feature race, 27 laps as opposed to the 12 in the sprint. And the strategies are going to be very interesting as well, because unlike previous seasons, they've not got complete free tyre choice in the feature race, where, I mean, last season we were seeing mixtures of hards, mediums and softs in the Group 4 cars. This time it's going to be hards and mediums only for the feature race, and medium and soft tyres, only for the sprint race. It does just change things a little bit with the strategy. Can't see it making masses of difference, and it sounds like it could be an interesting race tonight. It does sound as though the one stop is possible if you are a bit careful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long pit lane here, so you're going to want to make those tyres last. I think the fuel we're looking at, you're going to be able to make sort of half distance if you go absolutely flat out, but if you're if you're fuel saving, you probably could make 2/3 distance. It really, the nice thing about these cars and the nice way that we've sort of developed these regulations this season is that the driver can really make all the difference. It's a level playing field. We've got enough multipliers that you can burn through the tyres and the fuel if you're not careful. But if you are a smooth driver with the delicate touch, then you can really make all the difference.
Yeah, certainly. I think around here you are going to need that little bit of a delicate touch just to keep the rear tyres looking pretty good. Quite a lot of traction zones, plenty of heavy braking zones as well, and we nearly saw plenty of racing straight away as we get going with our only qualifying session of the season. Solid Ninja Snake and Jamie really looking to get out there on track quickly. And a reminder, another difference from previous seasons in terms of this qualifying session, you don't have to start the race on the tyres that you have qualified on. So you're going to be seeing everyone going out there on the soft tyres. So this qualifying should really give us a bit more of a true indication of what the spread is going to be like throughout the field. Majority of the field is now out there on the circuit. In fact, I don't think we've got anyone sitting in the pit lane for now, and it is going to be last season's Tier 2 champion, Season 1's Tier 2 champion, as well, of course, the last time we did race in the Group 3 cars. And wait and see what Solid Ninja Snake can do. Always has been a very quick driver, especially on Gran Turismo. Not too bad either on the Formula 1 game, and we'll wait and see what he can do here. Rounds the final proper corner on this circuit, gets the foot down onto the throttle, and we'll see what kind of lap time we are going to get here from Solid Ninja Snake. Nice and flat out through there, onto the start-finish straight here at the Sardinia circuit, making his way now on the run down towards turn number 1. You can see that slight little crest there as the cars exit the pit lane, means it's a bit of a blind braking zone for the drivers. Braking just after the 100-metre point there, running a bit wide. But so he has got away with it though. He's come through turns 1 to 2. Nice and clean there. Now through this long left-hander at turn number 3 in towards 4 and 5. Another chicane. Shouldn't really see too many drivers going for overtakes there. And it is an interesting chicane. Really tightens up on the second part, so you can afford to attack the first part a little bit more. Now heading down towards turn number 6. Another crucial acceleration zone, crucial traction on this circuit as it leads to a long, sweeping, flat-out section. Quite narrow around here, but I think we're still going to see plenty of drivers trying to go side by side. Solid Ninja Snake with a nice clear road as he makes his way through turns 7 and 8. And again, it's about spotting that braking point on your right-hand side around the marker boards, just around that 100-metre board again, in towards turn number 9. Definitely won't be stopping anywhere near that stop sign, and he won't be paying attention to the speed limit as you start climbing the hills once more. Nice and flat through this part, threading the needle through 11, 12, 13. A little dab on the brakes as you head in towards turn number 14. And then turn 15. Again, absolutely crucial. They don't go too greedy on the way into this corner. Try to get the best exit possible. The grass and the concrete wall always looking tempting on the exit of the corner. But nice and tidy from the reigning Tier 2 champion so far. And we'll see what lap time he can set and where that's going to be relative to everyone else. Because I don't think we're going to have long to wait to see what everyone else is doing in terms of a lap time. 1:40.43 for Solid Ninja Snake. Jamie goes 4/10 of a second behind. Petty Pet half a second faster for now. We'll see what sort of time Yazhi Prez is doing. He's looking very quick at the moment. It was YRS who was the quickest on the game in the practice session, but we all know that's not necessarily the most reliable information. As Fez there, only a 1:41.767, and with some damage on the front right corner. Yeah.
He caught the wall. I just saw that. I think it was through that quick left-hander at I think it's turn 13. It's quite surprising that we've got a lot of long straights here, and no one's opted to pick up a toe. Everyone's sort of gone very spread out, which I'm quite surprised by, because even though there is some dirty air, you can gain quite a lot by being about a second back from someone. So surprising to see that no one has opted for that strategy. Solid Ninja Snake, I think, has got more time in the bank than what he's shown there. The softs will wear out after a couple of laps. But I think he's got more to come. I mean, it's such a thrilling circuit, this one. You're going absolutely flat out for so much of it, and you know, you're late on the brake. As you said, you can't be too greedy going into any of the corners. But you've got to find that perfect balance of late on the brakes and getting the right exit, because you know, a tenth loss at the apex of what some of these hairpins will lead you to be 3/10 down the lane of that straight.
Yeah, definitely. And Solid Ninja Snake has found a bit more time this time around. 3/10 of a second up, so this should be good enough to put him into the top 5. I agree, it is interesting that no one's gone for the slipstream at the moment. It's something you see more in GT racing, just because you are able to hang closer together. And in fact, there goes Solid Ninja Snake putting himself up in towards 3rd place for now. We'll see. Ooh, Cristiano's had a moment. It looks like someone else has gone into him there. Didn't quite see what car that was, but Cristiano just got a bit too greedy. Big damage on his car. He's fastest at the moment. This lap's definitely not going to be an improvement, though.
Yeah, it was Hasnain who went into him, who actually, I noticed interestingly, a couple of cars actually went out on the medium tyre. I don't know if maybe they didn't realise that you don't have to start on your qualifying tyre, because Hasnain was one of those cars that went out on the mediums and came back in. So yeah, he's already on the back foot with that. He lost a lap, and now he's lost another one to that collision. So he's certainly on the back foot. Is the season 1 Tier 1 champion now.
Yeah, definitely. So not ideal whatsoever for Hasnain or Cristiano. Yes, did see Beyond Driver going out on mediums. It looks like Diogo Morva's heading out there on the mediums now. So whether he's just making sure he is on the mediums by the time it comes to that sprint race, of course, but only 8/10 off pole position for him. And for now, was Leader Reaper. I say you can afford to attack turn number 4, as you can. A bit of an untraditional chicane. Sort of reminds me of the Villeneuve chicane at Imola. You can go faster into the first part, but the second bit is the sharpest part. Leader Reaper, I just think he's got mixed up with a Formula D stream here. Really wild into turns 4 and 5. He's had a spin there at the hairpin, and I think he knows those tyres now are absolutely completely short, and we won't be seeing any improvements from him. Nearly at the end of this session, Cristiano, Nino, and it was Solid Ninja Snake your top 3 at the moment. Yazzie Prez heading towards the finish line. We'll see what he can do. It's quite a long run down towards turn number 1, so with a grid start, there's plenty of opportunity for overtaking in towards the first corner, and plenty of opportunity for carnage. Prez towards the line.
Ooh.
Shoots himself up into second, and you can see how close things are at the moment. 1.5 of a second separating the top 3. Not bad whatsoever for a roughly 100-second lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely close, and this is what I sort of expected from those top 3, for them to all be right on the same pace. I think some of them doing their fuel burning, they've got to get on with it, because you know, there's not that much time left in this session now, and they're going to want to get a final lap in on as low fuel as they can get away with. Obviously, you always see the top class drivers doing this when we're running fueling. Obviously, there's no qualifying mode. You used to be able to turn the fuel off on GC Sport, and we eradicated this tactic, but unfortunately not possible on GT7. So we do have to sit through drivers driving around with their foot on the brake, which is just one of those things, unfortunately. Just going back to what you said about that chicane that caught Lee out, it's such an odd corner. You've got to balance that speed going in, because you want to be on the left and get an early entry into that right-hander to get the best exit towards the church corner, like that sort of long left-hand hairpin. The thing with it, though, is that the inside curve, if you take too much of it, it's so sticky, and in these MR cars, you are just going to get turned right around. I expect to see a couple of drivers getting caught out by that, especially if they're battling in the race. It is going to be difficult. Speaking of the race, there you go.
Yeah, there we go then. We're heading in towards the race. What is going to happen here? Cristiano on pole position. Prez in second. Nono in third. Solid Ninja Snake in 4th place. And he is the lead car on a set of the medium tyres. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. 5 lights are on. They go out and we're underway then for the sprint race here at Sardinia. And Prez straight away getting a much better start than Cristiano on the run down towards the first corner. These two are going to be side by side on that one down towards turn number 1. Cristiano, though, with the inside line. Prez trying to hang it all the way around the outside. Bit of wheel banging between the two of them. And that allows Nono to take advantage. That has not worked out for the Lebanese driver whatsoever. So it is Cristiano in the lead now. Nono in second place. Solid Ninja Snake in third. But down the inside goes the Frenchman in towards turn number 4. And that has forced Cristiano D. That might just give Nono a chance on the run down towards turn number 6. We'll see what the Prima driver can do then. Looks for the outside, looks for the inside, has got that gap, and that is no-no. In towards the lead then. Manic start at the front of the field, and it is the Frenchman who comes out on top for now.
Yeah, everyone made it through cleanly, actually. I was quite surprised it's so easy to get caught out by that gravel trap, especially when you're going 2-3 wide into that first corner. But everyone very disciplined and very clean, and now we've got Ninja Stick getting in the mix with these top 3 drivers. It could certainly be a great opportunity for him to showcase what he's doing. He gets Perez down the inside that little bit later on the brakes, and now we'll see how they get through into this pretty much single file section of the circuit.
Yeah, solid Ninja Stake. Not surprising to see him getting overtaken by Prez there. He is on completely different tyres, of course, on the mediums, as Jamie's having a nice little battle here with Petit. Jamie just coming out on top on that one, but the Hungarian needs to get a move on the soft tyres. And that is exactly what he has done in towards that last hairpin. You have to do 25% race distance on the softs and 25% race distance on the mediums. So everyone who's on the softs, I don't think it'll be too long before we see them starting to come into the pits. We saw from qualifying, they do not last long whatsoever. And here's the Slipstream Fest. Here's what we expected tonight. YRS all over the back of Hasdane and Solid Ninja Stake on the run down towards turn number 1. He's got 1 car. Could he get 2 cars here? The man from Abu Dhabi. YRS tries that one little bit of contact. It looks like he's made it stick. YRS up into 4th place. And crucially for him, he is on the medium tyres.
Yeah, that's a big move. If you're going to be on the mediums, the softs, they're going to want to utilise their pace at the front, but if you can get on the mediums and negate that pace of the soft tyres, the soft tyre running cars behind you, you're going to reap those benefits later on in the race if you can take away the pace advantage of the soft tyre. Nono's just breaking away about second clear. You're looking for about 1.2, 1.3 seconds to break the toe. So if these 3 drivers sort of stay within that range, they've broken away from the rest of the pack. So if they're staying in that range of about 1 second each, then this is going to be something that carries on for the full race.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be an interesting one. I think we're not going to know who's going to take the victory here until right at the end. Like you said, if those on the mediums can just stay in the slipstream of the car in front, it's going to be so crucial for their chances of taking the victory in this race. But it's no, Prez, Cristiano, your top 3 then at the moment. Cristiano just dropping back a tiny bit now. Again, he's about 1.1 seconds off the back of Prez. Southern Ninja State's got back ahead of YRS, and in fact, Petit's trying to move around the outside there. He is on the soft, so he does need to get a bit of a move on. Hasdane now, after almost getting mugged slightly, I think you could say, last time around. Looked like he was going to be the one to get a move done. Ended up losing out. We'll see what he can do this time around in the slipstream. The blue Ferrari versus the red Ferrari. Petit, is he going to bother defending? Is he going to cut to that inside line? Indeed he is, and I think Hasdane thinks, you know what, for now, I'm not that fussed. I'm going to try and stay back. Almost thought about a move around the outside, but it's just so easy at turn number 1. If you're on the outside, so easy for the driver in front to just squeeze you off towards the gravel and possibly ruin your entire race.
Yeah, in my fairly lengthy career, I've been put in that gravel trap a number of times, and it doesn't feel good. It's so weird the way it's cambered, that corner. You dip one wheel and the whole car just goes round. There's absolutely no saving it. This battle here from sort of P4 down to P8, P9 has helped the front guys break away massively. They're 3 seconds clear already, so it looks like this is going to be the battle for 4th place. I don't see any of these guys bridging that gap. But then we've got another group of 4 cars further back who are all swapping positions as well, so sort of breaking up into pack racing, which is sort of what you expect with a tow. That if someone can get into clean air and utilise their pace, you never know, we might see someone come more into play a bit later on.
Yeah, definitely. Ramirez just trying to get the move done on Capello there. Tried to think about the switchback, but we said at this part of the circuit it is now pretty much single file. Tries to just force the Italian driver offline, who might be a bit more used to driving the Ferrari than some of the others. Drove it again, or drove the Group 4 Ferrari, I should have said, last season. Capello had modest success getting the odd podium in that car as Ramirez just onto the grass, just tapped the wall, and that is some damage. Thankfully, I think since we last raced on this, there has been another update. The damage is not quite as severe as it was for a few weeks during the last season. On towards lap number 4. That means everyone on the softs can come into the pits whenever they really want to now, but we imagine as long as they've got some life in those soft tyres, they are going to leave it right until the end. I wonder, in fact, whether we'll even see some of the drivers on the mediums coming in on the next couple of laps just to get on those softs as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the tyre life actually of the softs around here. With that tyre model update they did not too long ago, it really threw everything out of question. It was such a huge change to the way the tyres worked, and no one really understands why they did it. But it's interesting to see that the soft tyre cars haven't opted to dump them as soon as possible. They clearly still feel that there's an advantage in the worn soft over the fresh mediums. But I would expect that it's going to be either this lap or the next lap for the soft runners, and then lap 7 or 8 for the medium runners to switch. Especially if you're an early medium runner, you want to get onto those softs with enough time to utilise them, but not so long that they go off completely. As Petty Pettyat's really putting the Solid Ninja Snake under pressure now. I think Ninja Snake might actually be the cork in the bottle here. I think the cars behind him might have a little bit more pace.
Yeah, you can see YOS there trying to just uncork himself from behind the Hungarian man at the moment, but Ninja Snake's doing a very good job on those medium tyres for now. 7 seconds off the lead of this race, 4 seconds off Cristiano. Cristiano is just sort of in that no man's land in 3rd position at the moment, but Solid has managed to deal with that challenge for now. YOS certainly hasn't. That might have been his best lap of the race, but Hasdane was even quicker behind, and he seems to have spent the entire race stuck behind a car on the run down in towards turn 1 and just unable to do anything about that at the moment through this sweeping part of the circuit. Back towards the lead of the race. Oh, Prez. Prez has either had a penalty or he's made a mistake on that lap, because all of a sudden Cristiano is right on the back of him and Nono has got some breathing space. This could be crucial.
Yeah, I did catch that. I saw them go into turn 1 line astern, and then I've moved away to see what's going on behind and come back to him, and he's dropped a lot of time. So unless he had a run with the gravel trap at turn 1 perhaps, or yeah, as you say, maybe picked up a penalty, possibly cut turn 1 a little bit too much. But now he's under serious pressure from Cristiano, and this might be the deciding factor for Nuno if he can break away to about 3 seconds now.
Yeah, no, just gotta keep his head down now, do his own thing. They're all, as you can see, they're all, as you would expect, in the same cars, and the way these drivers are almost identical on their tyre life at the moment, as that is a massive moment for Prez, and that's going to be Cristiano saying thank you very much. Prez taps the ball, front right suspension damage. Will we see Prez come into the pits to get those soft tyres?
He's going to lose a lot of time. If he can get an undercut here, if the other cars in front don't come in, I think this could be a prime time for him to take advantage of that. Does he do it? No. That's surprising, actually. I'd have thought he'd come in, get that damage gone quicker than it normally would, and then try and grab an undercut. Ninja Snake in earlier than anyone else off the mediums, so clearly there's a lot of life in these soft tyres, so everyone seems to think.
Yeah, which, to be honest, looking at the state of the soft tyres on the cars that are using them at the moment, lap 5, maybe 1 lap longer I think you wanted to do. It looks like half the race would be just about doable. Hasdane in off his mediums, Lee the Reaper in off his soft tyres, so yeah, this really is not telling us a lot about what is going to be the right strategy in this race. But Solid Ninja Snake is now out on the soft tyres.
Hasdane picked up a pit lane penalty. He's got a 3-second penalty. I was about to say that this could be crucial for him. He could jump that whole group with a good outlap, but 3-second penalty for crossing the pit line, and that's put pay to that. He's probably going to drop positions now.
Yeah, definitely. Just a bit too keen there to get out the pit lane. Of course, that's the only way you can get a pit lane penalty on here. He's chopping over the line. No pit lane speeding penalties to worry about, and that is going to be 3 seconds for Hasdane. We've already spoken about how long the straights are around here. That is going to be costly for Hasdane. Probably going to put him in the clutches of Lee the Reaper for now. And like Javi said, he's going to drop right here, quite a long way down the order. Ramirez into the pits. He's not had a fun start to this race, getting rid of those soft tyres and going on to a set of the mediums. And at the front of the race, no, lap number 6. Those softs look absolutely shot to me.
Oh, Cristiano off at the hairpin. Oh no, he didn't. He lagged into the wall. That was strange. He had one of those lag when his car slowed right down. That's very weird. But he's now in. If you look at between the top 3, Cristiano definitely with the better tyre wear of the 3 front drivers for sure.
But 49% of his fuel left after 6 laps, so he's got to. He's not going to save a lot, but he's definitely going to save a tiny bit. And the rest of it, you can see Nono's not doing bad on 53 there. Petty Pet's on 46, so he's been battling with quite a few drivers. Could definitely do with just saving a tiny bit of fuel there in that Ferrari, as they all are going to head out onto the circuit again on their medium tyres. That is no now in 4th place, but the net leader still. Cristiano 5th, Prez in 6th, Solid Ninja Snake in 7th place, 2.7. Cristiano's off. Cristiano's going through the gravel there at the exit of turn number 1, and Solid Ninja Snake says, thank you very much. Cristiano not quite used to how the car is feeling. I wonder if he's had some sort of issue.
He's either got pedal or connection issues. There we go, yeah, he's disconnected. So, an unfortunate, well, you could say mechanical failure for Cristiano there, which is when he was, right in contention for the podium. He can rejoin. And re-enter the race and start the next race from the back, as he didn't finish. But if his connection is not in great state, then that looks like it might be the end of his evening.
Yeah, such a shame for Cristiano. I mean, started on pole position, wasn't the ideal start to the race for him, but had certainly got himself, well, looking certain, I'd say, for a podium in this sprint race, possibly even a 2nd place, but for now, fortunately for him, we will never know. What we do know, though, on that set of soft tyres, Solid Ninja Snake is absolutely flying. He's got the gap down to 2.3 seconds on Yaz Heat Prez. It's all about whether Ninja can sneak that extra 1 lap longer on the tyres. Of course, he's got less fuel load, so he's putting less wear through that set of soft tyres. He's putting less load through that set of soft tyres. Can he stretch that 1 extra lap out and possibly challenge Prez in this race? I think Nono's just going to be a bit too far ahead as he goes on to lap number 8 then, in the lead of this race. 4.3 seconds now the gap at the front of the field, and I think that battle for 2nd and 3rd is going to be one to watch out for. Petit Pet just looking like he's on his own there in 4th place all of a sudden. YRS in 5th, Jamie in 6th. And you can see how much its cost has, Dane. Down now behind Kepler. He was in that fight with, Petty and some of the others. He's now in 8th place. Looking forward to seeing what he can do on the soft. So he's instantly on the back of Kepler. This looks like it's not going to be long before he's moving into 7th.
Yeah, I mean, his position is slightly inaccurate, obviously with that penalty, so he'll be looking to charge through the field and pick up as many places as he can. I think 5th is a realistic target if he can get the moves done. I think 4th place might be a little bit too much of a stretch, but Petty is actually on the medium, so you never know if there isn't a lot of pace to be had in those. I mean, they look to be about 1.5 seconds a lap slower than the softs, so if things do come together for him, then you never know, he might be challenging. And speaking of which, Solid Ninja Snake is right on the back of Prez, only 1.5 seconds between them now, so this is about to get very interesting indeed, I think. Yeah,
it's caught up about 8 and 9 tenths at the current point, and you can see there, last lap around 140.0, 142.1 for Prez, who has another bit of a moment on the grass, as if Solid Ninja Snake needed any more help catching up. Prez with the fastest lap of the race at the moment, and a reminder, in this sprint race there are no fastest lap points. In the feature race there is a fastest lap point if you get it and manage to finish inside the top 10. But here comes Solid Ninja Snake, and 6 seconds off the lead. We'll just catch how much he's catching up to Nono. 140.2 for Prima Nono last time around, 140.7 for Prez, 139.8 for Solid Ninja Snake. So catching up Prez by about a second a lap. Don't need me to do the maths there. Next lap around, he should be all over the back of the Lebanese man. But Nono setting he's still setting a very good pace on those mediums. Only 4 tenths off the fastest lap of the race.
He is a top-class driver, there is no doubt about that. And the consistency on the harder tyres, the ones that require that little bit more finesse, a bit more car control, that is when you will see the difference in these top 16 world finalist drivers will shine through on the harder compounds of tyres. Hasnane's made it through on Jamie, was a pretty neat slipstream pass, and now Kepler is all over the back of Jamie as well. The pace difference, Jamie seemingly not quite having the feel for the soft tyres like he did when he looked fairly strong on the mediums, but the softs not treating him quite as well. As the gap has sort of stabilised for Ninja Snake and Prez. I wonder if the soft tyres, they're about 3-4 laps old now, they're possibly starting to go off compared to the fresh mediums that Prez has got on his Ferrari.
Yeah, we'll be getting a tiny bit of dirty air at the moment. Solid Ninja Snake should also be getting a tiny bit of slipstream as well, which I'll argue around this circuit is much more important and will probably negate that. But he wants to get a little bit of a move on here. Wants to make sure that, if there is a mistake from Nono up in front, not suggesting that is going to happen, that he's in a position to take advantage. But he is looking very good for 3rd place at the moment. Is Solid Ninja Snake, but certainly not as quick on this lap as he was on the previous one. Looks like he is doing a nice enough job, though, on those tyres to get them towards the end. And on his fuel, you know, looking pretty marginal, I think it's safe to say. No's not looking too bad whatsoever. Petty's just saved a tiny bit, or possibly refueled in the pit stop. And let's not forget, it's a 27-lap race in the feature. It is more than double the distance of what we're seeing at the moment. So anyone who's struggling on fuel in this race, I think we can safely say he's going to have to go for a 2-stop in the next one, or do some severe fuel saving. We saw a few people say YRS was looking low on fuel. I can only imagine he's fuel on the stop as well, in 5th place at the moment, 2 seconds behind Petty Pet, so that could be another move. And last lap around, YRS did set the fastest lap of the race, 7 tenths faster than the Hungarian. So at the current race, on the final lap, we'll be all over the back of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking down the field to see what else we've got going on. Everyone at the back's fairly spread out. I was interested that Petty must have put fuel in, because I think he came in with something like a 46, I think. So he was way below. But as you say, 27 lap feature race. Drivers are going to need to save. You can't afford to make an extra pit stop around here. There's just not enough of a tyre delta. You're going to lose 30 seconds in the pit lane, even having a change of tyres and even just a lap of fuel. So, a second stop probably isn't going to be an option unless someone has absolutely blistering pace. So, some of these drivers are really going to have to learn to fuel save with this car. It is a car that's conducive to fuel saving. You can go pretty much just as fast with some short shifts, but it seems like lots of the grid are pretty committed to revving it all the way out, which is just going to burn through fuel at a rate of knots that they're not going to be able to handle in a longer race.
Yeah, and I'd have thought a track like this, you can see from that track map, like many Italian circuits, there's plenty of long straights here. If you're tucked in behind another car, it's a chance just to lift off that tiny bit earlier. If you're not going to go for the move, save a bit of fuel in the slipstream. And that could certainly help you, saving that bit of fuel means you might be able to do it on a one-stop. It might mean you have to put a tiny little bit less fuel in. And saving times in the pit lane is always very handy. It does look like Ninja Snake's tyres, as soon as he's got within that 1 second mark, it just looked like he's not been able to have the pace to push through it, losing 3 tenths of a second on that lap to the lap before. And in fact, Yaz Heat Prez has managed to stay consistent on the 140.1 and was faster than Ninja on the previous lap. So it looks like that battle is over and done with. YRS just not having the same pace as well. All of a sudden on Petty Pet, who's finding some good pace on the mediums. It looks like the difference between the soft and the mediums isn't too major at the moment. There's not much difference between Jamie and Kepler though. Either round the outside, the Italian man tries it there. He's just going to find himself getting run out of road, and Jamie lives to fight another day. The gap behind them to Lee the Reaper is too much, so they don't really need to worry about this one. But Kepler really now starting to put Jamie under all sorts of pressure. You can see how much he's pushing behind. Jamie with 1 lap fresher tyres though, that's probably going to make a difference in this battle.
Yeah, absolutely, and Kepler's had a few run-ins with the wall and he's looking a little bit scrappy, so he's certainly trying hard to get past. He does have a flashing fuel light as well, as most of them are doing now. Only those who've got really solid saving abilities have managed to avoid that 10% fuel warning. I think they'll all get to the end just fine, but that 1 lap fresher tyres may just be the thing that makes the difference. Now it also looks like that Solid Ninja Snake has admitted defeat against Prez in the battle for P2. Ninja Snake's one of his many extremely solid attributes is his consistency, so if you may be looking at a few mistakes that Prez made in this race, he's hoping that he could possibly take advantage of those in the full race with over double the laps, as you say. He's maybe going to be hoping that Prez has a few more run-ins with the grass and the wall in a longer race.
Yeah, you can see that gap has just stretched out at the moment, and I think No just taking it a bit more gentle now at this lap. He is comfortably in the lead, 4.5 seconds out of those top 3 that broke away at the start. No, Prez and Cristiano. Cristiano had the connection issue. Who knows what he'd have been able to do in this stint. Prez made too many mistakes, and that means it is the Frenchman who is going to take a very nice and comfortable sprint race victory here, getting his first 8 points of the season and getting pole position, of course, for that feature race. Around the final corner, onto the start-finish straight. It's been a perfect start, but Primo Nono heads towards the finish line, takes the checkered flag. He is victorious in the sprint race here at Sardinia.
That's the fastest lap as well on a medium, so 6 laps old. That's a stamp of authority for him there.
Yeah, I thought he was taking it a bit easier by the way it was looking, but hey, sometimes going slower does look a bit faster. In the end, Jazz Heat in second, Solid Ninja Snake third, Petty Pet in fourth, nearly catching up to Ninja on that final lap. I think tyres had just started to hit the cliff. YRS, Hasdane and Jamie will be the final point scorers. Kepler missing out by a tenth of a second in the end. You can see there Diogo Mora, Jotungo, Lee the Reaper, who's dropped back a bit, and Ramirez was just not had fun at all in this race. He is going to be the final finisher, but Prima Nono there, just a perfect race. Like we said, Cristiano had connection issues, but it didn't look as though he was going to be challenging for the win, to be perfectly honest. Prez made mistakes. 5 second gap in a 12-lap race, not bad at all.
Yeah, that is a serious pace he's put on there. That's certainly is foreboding for the rest of the field when it comes to the long race. Although, you know, we will be using medium and hard in the full race. We may see some drivers come better on the harder compounder tyres. You know, the softs are a strange compound. They require a really unique driving style to get the most out of them. But I think Nuno's got to be the favourite for the feature race here. And I think Prez and Ninja Snake on those hard tyres, Ninja Snake really can come alive. I think we'll be seeing those two battling it out for the second and third positions.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be intriguing to see what happens. Like you said, they're not going to have the soft tyres in the next race. And I think any drivers who perhaps have not had as much chance to get some practice in might now have that little bit of consistency. We might see a few less mistakes. We'll see how things wait and go on. Cristiano has been able to get back in the room, which is great to see. So we'll be able to see him from the feature race, but he will be starting from the back of the grid, of course. And there it is, Prima Nono taking the victory there. And right from the start, Harry, the race sort of split up into different groups. We saw the top three get away. Then there was Solid Ninja Snake, Petit Pet, Hasdane, YRS, Kepler, and Jamie in their own little battle. And then we saw those a bit further behind. And it didn't seem to matter whether you were on the soft and the mediums. And I think that was shown at the end by Nono setting the fastest lap on the mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. You really saw the benefits of the harder compounder tyre sort of coming to fruition there. It's so important to hold on to the slipstream in this race. If you start swapping positions too much, you get caught out. It's very narrow. You can get bumped off line and you lose a lot of time. And you saw that straight away. You know, the whole pack was close together for about a lap. As soon as one group, even just two drivers, start battling, everyone splits up and you get that pack racing problem. It reminds me of a sort of Moto3 race, but quite a lot bigger. And so you really got to be sort of mindful of of choosing your battles, and especially in a long race, you don't want to give yourself up in the first two laps trying to make an overtake that might not stick when, you know, it could cost you two positions further down the road. So yeah, will really be interesting to see how the drivers cope with that longer race and with the harder compounder tyres as well. If you're sliding about, you're catching the gravel, catching the grass, you know, problems are going to arise in that pretty quickly.
Yeah, we've seen already. You catch the gravel at turn one, it definitely sucks you towards the wall. Prez tapping the wall out through the grassy areas as well. Kepler looking quite wild on various occasions. It was interesting how the soft tyres sort of wore off in that race. I mean, at one bit it looked a certainty that Solid Ninja Snake was going to get ahead of Prez, but just perhaps took a bit too much out of them in the early stages. Shouldn't be a problem. Obviously in this race we're not going to have the soft tyres, so that's not going to be a problem, but you're going to want to be a bit careful on these medium tyres to make sure they've got some life left if you are going to go on that one stop.
Yeah, exactly. The mediums I think are going to be crucial. You know, the hards, you can just pound round on them lap after lap after lap as long as you've got the sliding under control and you can just be smooth about it. It's you're really going to want to be focusing on those mediums, keep them alive for as long as you can. Utilise the pace, obviously. You don't want to be crawling round and waste them, but if you're going to go ahead and burn them out in a battle, you've got to be prepared to make that time back up again later on, and I'm not sure it's possible at this track.
Yeah, it's that sort of compromise I've got to try and make here to see, is it worth pushing extremely hard, especially at the start of the race when you want a heavier fuel load and you're going to be putting that extra load through the tyres, or is it worth just settling down, getting into a bit of a rhythm, and then as things spread out, we'll wait and see what happens. I'm just getting ready to reset this before we're going towards the feature race, and it is going to be a rolling start as well. So that's something slightly different to work out with. And with the way the rolling start works on this game, unfortunately, we are going to have to do it as a grid start and then going into the race. So hopefully we don't get anyone breaking any rules here. It is a long run down towards turn number 1. And as we saw in that last race, Cristiano didn't get the best start. It looks as though he's going to get overtaken straight away around Fez, who tried that move around the outside into turn 1 and just didn't work. And again here, if you're slow reacting to the lights, or if you're quick reacting to the getaway from the leader, you can lose a lot of places, you can gain a lot of easy places.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, our almighty overlords at Polyphony Digital didn't think to put a grid editor into this game. So where we planned to just use the grid editor and pop people into their places, unfortunately that's not possible. So yeah, we've had to use a grid start followed by a manual rolling start, which anyone who's familiar with the olden days in project cars and indeed a few GT leagues, running a rolling start can either go extremely well or very, very badly indeed. So hopefully we won't see any problems, and we'll have people get into position nice and neatly. There'll be no arguments and no fatting and things like that, but you never know, do you? So hopefully we'll see everyone keep it clean, and is something new again for the drivers to deal with a rolling start, when to react, not to go, the leader with the big toe. It's like you see in safety car restarts in Formula 1 at the moment. You don't want to go too early because you just get slipstream straight past. So it'll be really interesting to see how the drivers deal with what's certainly going to be a new experience for a lot of them.
Yeah, definitely my memories of trying it on different GT leagues. You can guarantee at least one part this season probably is going to be some sort of aborted start, and they're going to have to try it again. That is pretty much guaranteed. And like you said, you are going to have to go extremely late around here. It could be waiting right until the finish line. It'll be interesting if anyone tries to predict when the leaders are going to go, like we saw in Formula 1 in Mugello in 2020 with that long run down towards turn number 1. Some at the back trying to leave a gap, trying to predict when the leaders are going to go, and if you get it wrong, you have to slam on the brakes, and unfortunately then all hell breaks loose. But hopefully there will be a bit more careful around here, and we shouldn't have that sort of issues. A reminder then of the order from the last race there. You could no there, it was him who take the victory. Prez in second place, solid Ninja Stake in third position. Great job from him on that alternate strategy. It was the Hungarian man. It was TTV Petipet in fourth place. YRS fifth. Hasdane in sixth. And Jamie getting that final point as we are just waiting for, I think we've had a few people unfortunately leave the lobby. So hopefully it shouldn't be too long before we are going to get underway. Just adds that a little bit more tension, of course, waiting around here. We did see in that last race, saw a lot of drivers picking up damage. Didn't see too many penalties, which is great to see. I think the only one I spotted on my screen was Hasday getting that pit lane penalty. But did see a lot of drivers picking up damage, which, effectively, it's a street circuit for half of this circuit. Not that surprising.
Yeah, it is. It's the walls can be really close in places. Certain like danger zone. You've got the church corner, that long left-hander just at the end of the first sector. The fast left, I think it's turn 13, I'm not 100% sure, through the second half of the lap. There's plenty of places where you can just catch the ball, and with this super sensitive damage model, it really is just gonna catch that edge, and when you get steering damage on this game, it's really debilitating. And so hopefully we won't see too much of that, but when you've got so many drivers so close to one another, it is unfortunately a bit inevitable that these problems will arise. Just got John going through the grid order, so anyone who wasn't listening will be able to see it on their screen now in the game chat as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll head over to the game scene. It's just got some lovely rolling hills here around the Sardinia region, waiting for everyone to get their way into the lobby. Just noticed that Leader Master's got a learner plate on his car. Didn't really have the ideal race last time around, but still an opportunity. Obviously now with the top 10 getting points, a lot more to what we are used to. I believe it is actually going to be Prima Nono on pole position, not Yaz Heat Prez, as it was Nono who took the victory, of course, in that last race. I think, if anything, it will be that pace that he was able to show instantly on the mediums that might have others a tiny bit worried, because, Prez got there eventually. Petitpet got there eventually. Was able to show good pace on the mediums, but Nunu was just on it right from the word go out of the pit lane, and just pulled what already looked like an insurmountable gap, made it even bigger, and then was able to quote unquote relax at the end of the race because he did set the fastest lap, but it just looked very nice for him on those medium tyres. And like you said, the best of the best are just able to extract that performance out of tyres that mere mortals shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm expecting him to go with the mediums to start this race. I think he's going to try and utilise some of that raw pace to just break away a bit. Hope that Cristiano or Ninja Snake, someone petty perhaps, can interfere with each other's races in that sort of second to fifth range of the grid, and just try and break away enough so that he can have some breathing room and sort of run his own race. If you run the mediums at the start, you don't get the start you wanted, and then you end up getting, caught up in battles and things like that. It's really going to affect your race, and you're not going to be able to save the tyres or the fuel that you really want to. So I'm fully expecting him to go with the mediums, utilise that pace, and then show his class later on with a lengthy stint on the hards to bring the car home. I'm interested to see what Cristiano's going to be able to do from the back of the grid. Expecting him probably to go with the hard tyre, just roll with it, keep those alive for as long as he can, pick up places where he's able to, and then utilise pace, hopefully in some clean air a bit later on.
Yeah, it does look like at the moment we might see those change here as we've just got the tyres up on the left-hand side of the screen. Fez, Nuno and YRS are all going for a set of the medium tyres, as are Capraro and Petitpet. That might change. We might see them make some last-minute changes, but quite an even split amongst the field. Obviously, I think YRS thinking that he might have a bit more pace than he was able to show in that race, and seeing if he can get some early moves on and maybe latch onto that front pairing of Nuno and Prez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think some of those midfield drivers, a lot of them will feel like they were held back by one another. It's always the case in the midfield. I'm faster than the guy in front of me, but I can't get past him. So I think this is the first phase, that early laps. Which groups appear, who breaks away? If the top three guys drag a couple of that midfield group away, it's going to make a huge difference for their race. They can show their pace, they can utilise the slipstream and gain a huge advantage over cars behind if they get caught up battling. I'm expecting that Nono and Prez at the front on those mediums will break away. If Ninja Snake is starting on the hards, then maybe he's going to be falling victim to some of the cars behind him who are on the softer tyre. So it really remains to be seen what we're going to be looking at regarding how people approach the battles in this race, because it could make or break anyone's race. A couple of position swaps could make all the difference.
Yeah, being such a short series could pretty much make or break your entire championship, of course. There's only 75 points available for the entire thing. 16 for winning the sprint race, plus an extra one. Well, 16 for winning the feature race, sorry, plus an extra one for the fastest lap. There's a few drivers just getting a little bit of a run out there. Looks as though we've got a few heading out onto the circuit. I think Hasdane just getting a little bit of a run. He'll be someone who is now just hoping for a clean race. Obviously, he's going to be thinking, you know what, a top 5 could have possibly been in my grasp if it wasn't for that penalty. Yeah,
I think he's got to feel pretty hard done by with that pit entry, especially as well, because I think Jacques Goes said at the end there that he maybe got in Hasdane's way a little bit over when crossing the pit entry, so that might have contributed to that penalty he picked up. So I think he will be looking for a little bit more from this race. I mean, 6th place isn't bad. You're right in the middle of the field. You've still got plenty of cars behind you and enough stuff in front of you to aim at. So I think Hasdane will be sniffing around that top 4 region. I think there's no question about that. But again, those small mistakes, pit lane lines, they are cruel, and while they are complete constants, they can be very difficult to predict. You've got dotted lines, you've got solid lines. It can be a bit all over the place. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more drivers pick up those penalties at this round and indeed for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think certainly, especially if you're in the heat of the moment, that's probably where you're going to see a few more drivers doing it as they try and push, especially with some other drivers. So we'll see whether we do get any of that. So the 5 lights are going to come on, but this is just going to be to get us underway for the formation lap before we get underway with a proper 26 lap race, so it is all going to be nice and calm at the start here as they get away. Prima Nono and Fezza lead us away quite rapidly indeed. And I think all of a sudden they have
they're going to need to slow that down. There's no way anyone's going to keep up with them.
Yeah, because I think they've remembered
no one's going to want to burn
their
out their tyres.
Yeah, that's another good point. You're gonna. This is, you know, this is going to count for your tyre wear. It is going to count for your fuel wear. Don't think getting from 0 to 100 miles per hour as quick as possible was the wisest idea. So everyone now just sort of negates that. Everyone picking the lower fuel modes, of course, which is not really something you see the drivers use on this game. There is always that option on Gran Turismo to go down to the lower fuel modes, but by the time you've done that, you're basically just ruining your pace, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. The low fuel modes are pretty much there. Well, to be honest, I don't really know why they're there. Then they've not been designed very well.
They're there for this.
I think the only well, yeah, for this, we're doing manual rolling starts because they put a grid editor in the game. Perhaps they can be useful, you know, if you're doing really long races with, you know, or either really long races at Le Mans. They can be useful when you're off the throttle in a hybrid car, for example, or if you're in a really high fuel multiplier race where a straight on mode 3 makes all the difference to whether you make the last half a lap or not. But really, at the end of a race like this, you're not going to be wanting to use those. You can get much more effective, much faster fuel-saving abilities by just short shifting, a bit of lift and coast, using the slipstream smartly. So I don't expect anyone who's studied things well to be using those fuel modes.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a last-ditch gasp, you know, desperation effort. I think if we see anyone using those fuel modes, now they're all getting ready to get into double file shortly, of course. Prima Nono leading them away on the medium tyres. First car on the hards is going to be Solid Ninja Snake in third place. Was on a harder tyre than most of the others around him in the sprint race earlier on and managed to put up some good defensive driving. He's going to have to do the same again as his Petty Pet with YRS in 5th place on that set of the medium tyres. So now they've got a zone that they've got to get to, and once they get to that zone, it is all up to Prima Nono when he wants to put the hammer down, when he wants to go in this race. It looks very comfortable in the sprint race for the Frenchman. We'll see if it is going to look as comfortable over the next 26 laps. Still keeping it nice and calm. Don't want to give that slipstream to everyone else, otherwise we could end up with complete carnage towards the first corner. When are we going to see the leaders put the hammer down? Probably it will not be too long. We're nearly at the start-finish line, and away we go. They are off then. 26 laps of the feature race here at the Fezza Fest at Sardinia gets away, and straight away Solid Ninja Snake coming under some pressure from the man in 4th place. Petty Pet going to try and move round the outside in towards turn number 1. Yazheat Perez trying to move down the inside for the race lead, and a little bit of contact between himself and Nono, but the front 4 remaining as they are briefly, as YRS now makes some moves on those sets of the medium tyres for softest tyres. We're seeing in this race, and there's contact in the background, and that is Jamie, who has had a big hit into the wall, and I think Hasdane looking like he was involved in that as well.
Yeah, Hasdane slowed up, I think, to pass the position back to Jamie. I think he just got caught out by the pack racing. He'd been knocked down a couple of positions and just tagged the rear right corner of the singular yellow Ferrari on the field. So those two race over before it's begun, quite frankly. Back at the front, I thought Prima Nono did a great job of managing that start of the getaway, but Perez had his number on the brakes and immediately made that move down the inside. Didn't quite pull it off, but he's right with him now, and I think this is crucial. If Perez wants to stake his claim to fight into this race win, he's going to need to make this overtake soon.
Yeah, Cristiano having a little bit of an issue there into the braking zone at the hairpin, just getting that wrong, but still able to continue with damage on that rear left. Will negate itself pretty soon, but it's going to feel pretty awkward on traction around some of these corners. And we've also seen YRS, he's dropped down the order. I thought what was looking like quite a good start for YRS, he's dropped down a few places all of a sudden. So he's now down in towards 9th place, and Ramirez there briefly looking like he was going to challenge him. But ended the first proper lap of this race, and Nono leading, Prez in 2nd place, but who's going to be 3rd very shortly. Solid Ninja Steak and Petit Pet again having a little battle here, as they did for various parts of the sprint race. The difference this time is they are both on a set of the hard tyres, and you've got to do at least 7 laps on the hards, at least 7 laps on the mediums, but it is going to be more the fuel usage that dictates for strategy on this one, rather than that tyre roll down the inside goes Petit Pet. He takes 3rd place for now, and Capro GT, he's trying to see if he can get involved in this one. Round the outside at turn number 5, fair play for Solid Ninja Steak, leaving him some room there, but he has left himself vulnerable. The Italian has the inside for the next corner, and that is Capro up in towards 4th. I think there'd have been, you know, a lot of drivers there would have given Capro a harder time than Solid Ninja Steak there.
He is one of the fairest wheel-to-wheel racers. You certainly have to give that to him, and that was some very sporting behaviour against what was an extremely optimistic move around the outside of the second half of that chicane. Capro, this is a chemo, and he's got to get past these hard tyre runners. He's got to utilise the pace of the medium as early as he can. He was pretty heavy on his fuel in the sprint race. That's going to be coming into play. He's got to make sure that he doesn't burn through that fuel and force himself into an earlier stop than he needs to, or indeed that he ends up needing to make a second one or use those dreaded fuel modes to save even more. So he's got to make sure he gets past, gets into his own rhythm, doesn't use up too much fuel and tyre, and gets a clean run at what could be, you know, a battle for the podium for him here.
Yeah, just got a bit of wobble there on coming out of turn number 15, so I think that's ruined his chances possibly on this straight. But you can just see the advantage of the medium tyres, even for what is a pretty flat-out corner. Capro just able to gain so much time at that part of the circuit, and all of a sudden he's looking very racy. He's a long way back here. Doesn't go for the move in towards turn number 1, just stays behind for now. But as we've seen on the previous lap, he is not afraid of making moves. Someone else who's not afraid of making moves, YRS, trying to battle his way back up the order. Him and Lee the Reaper looking pretty much identical in their cars at the moment, with Go and Ramirez also not too far behind. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th for all of them now. Lee goes a tiny bit deep, and this might just give YRS the opportunity he needs on the exit. Can he get a better run in towards the next turn? Or is he just going to have to remain behind for now? Looks as though he thought about one for the inside, but I think realises early on in the race, no need to go for risky moves in towards turn number 6 at this stage. Petit Pet still holding on to that 3rd place for now, and you can see the difference this is making to their races, because the gap between Yazheet Prez and Petit Pet, as we're nearly at the end of lap number 4, is up to 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what we're saying. You know, the cars that are battling, who are swapping positions, going defensive, getting in each other's way, they're costing themselves easily a second a lap. The cars who are close, but they're being sensible about it, they're staying in the toe, they're not going for late moves, using the lift and coast, they're not losing as much time, and they are making the most of it. I think that is the smartest way to approach this race. You can't be swapping positions left, right and centre, or you are just going to cost yourself time. And we've got a train now about 4 or 5 cars behind Diogo. In fact, it's 2 medium runners bottled up behind 2 hards runners, and that is going to be killing them. It's going to be killing the tyres. They're going to be frustrated stuck behind them. All these medium car runners are really going to want to get in front of any hard tyre drivers at this stage.
Yeah, we saw a difference between the soft and the mediums wasn't too much. It's going to be quite a lot more between the medium and the hard tyres, which, if it wasn't for the tyre rules, the hard tyres would easily, comfortably do all this race, and you wouldn't have to change them in the pits and save yourself a lot, quite a bit of time with that. Diogo this time, the one that goes a bit too deep in towards turn number 4, and oh, Lee the Reaper. Did see him and Go getting pretty close together. Not sure if there's been any contact with that. I'm not sure if Lee just been caught out with all of that, but big damage to the left-hand side of the car. And Lee the Reaper now down in last place on those hard tyres. So that is one less car for the medium runners of Go and YRS to deal with. And I think YRS looking very tempted to try and get ahead of Diogo at the moment in the slipstream. Are we going to see a move this time around? Sort of feints towards the inside. Just can't quite get alongside enough. And like you said, you have got to sort of, I think if you're on the same tyres, the no-brainer move at the moment is just to, stay with the cars, work together at this point to save your tyres and save a bit of fuel. But YRS has not got that option at the moment. He is pushing extremely hard as Diogo goes off the circuit there. This could be the opportunity that the Emirati driver needed. Down the inside goes YRS. That is 6th place Just needed that little bit of good fortune to get ahead. But you wonder whether Diogo in the slipstream might be able to fight back here. It does look as though he's just losing too much time.
Yeah, exactly. That is the move that needed to be made. I think Lee, in that instant, I think he caught that sticky inside curve that I mentioned before. We saw it catch him out in qualifying. It's got to him again. It's so easy to just take a little bit too much of liberty with the inside of that chicane, and it catches you and you get spat into that outside wall. We're very close. There's no time to scrub any speed off whatsoever. Looking, Kepler has finally got in front of Petty there for P3, so the medium tyre runners just making the pace count and just breaking through and making enough of a difference to utilise that pace early on, while the hard guys are going to be going on these tyres for quite some time. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't look like Kepler's got any concerns about his tyre wear at the moment in terms of doing, how long they're going to last on this stint. But compare Kepler's front light to the front light of our two leaders at the moment, who are just following each other out, who haven't been battling with each other. Nono and Fez, with the way they're going, they look as though they could take these front tyres right up until the end of the race. Doing a fantastic job on the tyre life. They've got a 5-second lead over the rest of the pack at the moment. They will, of course, be on the harder tyres later on, and we could see, probably not catching and fighting for the win, but we could see Petty Bet and a solid Ninja Stake as well. Certainly a bit of an opportunity of fighting for the podium. YRS, someone who, after qualifying, looks as though he had a fantastic chance of getting onto the podium. He is on the medium tyres right now. See the difference he's made, being able to get ahead of Diogo Mora, pulled out nearly 1.5 seconds on this lap alone. Solid Ninja State will be his next target.
Yeah, it's been a good start for him though. He's got Lambert Morris has managed to get 3 on those medium tyres. He's Diogo behind him's coming under pressure from Cristiano. He's slowly making his way through on the hard tyres. He's displaying really solid pace. He's only about a second a lap off of the front two, despite being on the hards versus their mediums. So I think there is still a chance for Cristiano to be challenging for the podium here if he can get into some more clean air and just run his own race. Interestingly, looking at the front two, the differences in driving styles are really showing in their tyre and fuel usage. Nono's used more tyre, but he's saved a lot of fuel, whereas Perez in the slipstream, he's using more fuel, strangely, but he is saving more tyres. So obviously as the race goes on, that will get increasingly bigger difference between the two of them, and that might be where this race is decided, if they can't decide it into a battle.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like at the moment, like the fuel usage is going to be that more important one. I can't see them having any issues getting those mediums as long as they would like to. And Perez, well, he's still going to be over half a tank of fuel, I think, as they come towards the end of this lap, which is where you want to be, trying to get about 14, possibly 15 laps out of that set of tyres. So that's not going to be too bad for him whatsoever. Cristiano, now I think for the first time in this race, we've seen him make some pretty nice clean moves on Yutzengo and Hasnain earlier on. Cristiano, the first time we've really seen him getting stuck behind a car a bit, stuck on the back of Diogo Mora. We'll see whether he'll be able to get the move done down the next straight. He's got a fantastic exit out of that hairpin then, coming through the final corner. I'm not sure there's going to be a lot the Portuguese man can do here.
Yeah, he tried to move up the inside into the hairpin at the end of the back straight and got switched back on by Diogo. It was some really nice racing. I actually noticed on his graphic he's got the traction control glitch, which is definitely going to be costing him some time. Anyone who's not familiar, the traction control glitch is a driver rejoining the lobby. We ban traction control in PSGL GT. Anyone who rejoins a lobby after disconnecting, their traction control gets locked on, and because it's disabled you can't turn it off, which some people might think is an advantage, but for a driver this quick it's just holding him back. It's throttling his power application. He's not able to get the purchase he wants, and it's going to affect his front tyre wear as well, because he's not going to have any slip on the rear and he's just going to be pushing the car out wide. So definitely a performance on the back foot for Cristiano today.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously not helping him when it comes to making those late braking moves, because like we saw, Diogo was able to get him on the switchback because he's able to put all the power down that the car's giving him, and Cristiano certainly was not able to go. Yutzengo's now got to move down the inside of Diogo Mora, then into that corner. Windmills on the inside. Diogo's going to try and hold this off all the way around the outside and just has to yield right at the end. So that is going to go up in towards 8th place. We saw Ramirez have a big incident on that lap. He had a spin. He's coming to the pits. I think he's just getting rid of the hard tyres and going onto the mediums. Not enjoying this race whatsoever. at the moment is Ramirez. He is down in last position at the front of the field. Probably the biggest we've seen the gap for a while. 7 tenths of a second isn't exactly big, but on that last lap, no being able to pull away a couple of tenths of a second. And we've also seen Petitpet come into the pits on that lap as well. This is very intriguing and not what we expected whatsoever.
I'm wondering if these drivers believe that they can do 19 laps on a set of medium tyres. The wear from the front guys is looking like that might be a possibility, that the pace is solid enough that they could go long on the softer compound. Where here is kind of strange. There's so many straights. You're sort of off. The load is off the tyres for so long that actually you probably can go longer here than maybe you can at some other places. You know, we are going to the Nürburgring later in the season, and that is a circuit where you're almost constantly turning corners, and that's where we're going to see maybe the hard tyre become more powerful. But I think the drivers who do extensively test ahead of this league each week, I think they're under the impression that the mediums might go long enough that the hards are only a short-term option, but that sort of remains to be seen.
Yeah, of course. The flip side of that is you've got to make sure you can get your fuel long enough as well. Does it look like Petitpet's got a full tank of fuel in that car? So I'll be seeing him going for quite an aggressive two-stop strategy and just flying his way around at the circuit at the moment. No, once the tyre wear's just started to come into play, he has got that bit of an advantage over Prez. 1.4 seconds now. All of a sudden, maybe just having... It looks as though he's actually been able to save his tyres slightly better all of a sudden, and that gap in the fuel is becoming noticeable. Probably about a lap extra now. He might be able to stretch these medium tyres. 1.3 seconds, that gap. They've checked out. Kepler, he's now the man in a race on his own. He's 5.5 seconds ahead of Solid Ninja Snake. Of course, he was battling with Petty before he had that battle. Solid Ninja Snake is not on his own. He's got YRS all over the back of him, who's just going to try get the last little bit of life out of those medium tyres. It does not look as though he's going to be able to get these 18, 19 laps, no matter how hard he tries.
No, I mean, you know, the difference in class is showing through with these top guys who are driving at immense pace and are still holding onto their tyres that well is really a sign of the calibre of driver we've got here. I think we've got a few more cars coming in off the hard tyre. They're looking at 9-10 laps. Obviously, the benefit of having of coming off those hards earlier is you do get the undercut effect of fresh mediums, but you've got to make them last longer, and you will have to save a bit more fuel. Those cars who are taking them a bit longer, they'll have fresher mediums later on. They won't have to fuel save or tyre save as much. And I think between now and I think about lap 13 is when we're going to switch to the hard tyre cars come in, and then again between about 18 and 21, or excuse me, 17 and 20 is when the medium tyre cars will probably start to enter the pits.
Yeah, last lap around it was Hasnane who came into the pits.
Diogo's hit
the wall at the head, but that is not what you want to be doing on those that set of hard tyres. Got about a quarter of a tank left, so suggest he's going to be pretty marginal on getting this on a one-stop in terms of fuel usage. And that's just allowed Juttengo to be more on his own than I think he was earlier on. Diogo's just starting to struggle a bit more in this race. And Diogo, in fact, he also has got that traction control glitch as well, so not helping him out whatsoever. And when you're not used to driving with traction control, having it all of a sudden, that's not surprising. We've seen him make just a tiny little bit of a mistake. Gap has stabilised at the front of the field. Prez keeping it within that 1 to 1.5 seconds for now. Exactly what he needs to do if he wants to take advantage of that slipstream and maybe get his fuel back onto the same usage as Nunu is just looking very good again. Diogo Mora comes into the pits off those hard tyres. Not that surprising. I think we'll be seeing... Don't think we'll be too long before we're seeing Capello come into the pits. Of course, they'll be aiming to, at the very least, get to lap number 13. But I think ideally, they'd want to get lap 14, lap 15, as we've been seeing on these medium tyres, just to be in a bit of a safer place later on. And it will be the fuel that determines how long they are able to go in this one. Cristiano now in 6th place, and I wonder if he's made a slight mistake there. Juttengo all of a sudden get a much better exit up the hill here. Jut's having a very good race all of a sudden in this feature race. Door half open on the inside, but I don't think he's got any interest of doing that move for now. He's on the medium tyres, so he's on the faster tyres, but Juttengo wouldn't normally expect him, no offence to him, to be keeping up with Christian even with that tyre advantage, but he's managed to do so at the moment. And he's not taking too much life out of them whatsoever, which could bode well for him later on, as that's Cristiano who makes a mistake. And I think there might have been a bit of contact between the two of them there. Just got bumper damage, Cristiano with suspension damage.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. It looked like Cristiano went wide and hit the ball, and as he came back across the track, he got caught by Django. I think that's what's happened. So he's got some bumper damage. Be a bit of loss of straight line speed. Thankfully, it's not wheel or suspension damage. That's a killer. But so it'll be a bit slow on the straight now, but hopefully he should be fine. YRS enters the pits, the first of the medium tyre runners to switch onto hards. Will it be interesting to see how his pace stacks up to those around him when he's going onto a full tank of fuel and a harder compounder tyre? Cristiano in as well, switching from his hards onto the mediums. A splash of fuel. I imagine he'll need probably just over half a tank, something like that, and he'll be on his way as well.
Yeah, so YRS heading his way out of the pits, fueling done. He's out there on a fresh set of the hard tyres, drops behind Jamie and just drops behind Hasdane as well. Certainly looks as though on my screen there, got over the white line. Doesn't seem to have any penalty showing up at the moment, but YRS coming out in 10th place with that full tank of fuel. Aiming, of course, for that and his tyres to get him towards the end of the race. Cristiano, he's also got that full tank on the mediums. He did have that slight mistake, so maybe that will cost him, but I'm still interested to see where he's going to come out relative to everyone else at the end of all this. Currently a minute off the leaders, who do just look as though they are in a different class. So are they going to carry on one more lap at the end of lap number 12? No in the lead. He carries on. Trez, unsurprisingly, comes into the pits.
This is crucial if he can get a good outlap. Hard tyres, cold hard tyres as well, because temperature makes a big difference on this new tyre model. Cold hard tyres, a full tank of fuel. Can he get an undercut? What he's really going to be banking on now is that Nono's tyres hit that borderline puncture region of the tyre where they are right at the bottom of that tyre wear gauge. And if they start to get too close, he will be feeling the effects in the handling of the car. Coming through the first sector, let's see how far off the pace he is compared to his own best. Less than a tenth. I mean, how can you compete with consistency like that when the tyres are that close to the end of the road and he's 78 thousandths off his best first sector? It's absolutely amazing. Prez is going to need a miracle on his outlap to overtake him here, I think. And he's got traffic as well. It's going to be a tough one for Prez now.
Yeah, definitely not come out in an ideal situation. I mean, I don't think there's a lot he could have done there. We're certainly using his tyres and his fuel up a bit more. Could have gone one more lap, but I think we would have seen his tyres hit that cliff. He comes out in 6th place. Petitbet won't be causing him too many problems for now. In fact, he might even be hoping that Pet stays away from him because he is on that set of the medium tyres. But sooner rather than later, he is going to start struggling. And that is really going to drop him into the clutches of Prez. Prima Nono then, that would be alright. He's looking decidedly second hand at the moment. 13 laps. Pretty much bang on what you need to be doing and doing a fantastic job on the fuel as well. So should be a shorter pit stop then, Prez. And into the pits.
Keppero's got a puncture. He's pushed it one that too far. Keppero with no rear tyre left whatsoever. And that is going to throw him into the clutches of solid Ninja Snake, who's yet to stop and only 5 seconds behind him. You've got to think that Ninja Snake could be on for a very, very solid P3 here if Keppero's tyre can't make the most of the hard tyre coming up.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Keppero's time there. He's on about 1:41 by the time he came into the pit lane, so we would have been, if he'd have gone across the line, 1:45, 1:46 easily there. And it is a familiar face to anyone who was watching Tier 2 last season leading the race. Solid Ninja Snake now in the lead on that set of the hard tyres, running pretty low on the fuel, but might still be able to stretch an extra lap or two if he so chooses to. I think we will see him coming into the pits this lap, possibly next lap though. No such issue with getting those hard tyres to last long enough. You're to go in 2nd place. Well, that's a fantastic job stretching those mediums as long as possible. I think we'll be seeing him coming soon. Petty in 3rd place. He has pitted, but he's going to have to do, well, just looking at that fuel gauge, it doesn't matter how good you are at fuel saving, he's certainly going to have to come into the pits again. So it's still Nono, our net race leader. He's got that gap up now to 2.3 seconds over Prez.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to pit again, because if my Looking at, oh no, he did do enough laps. No, that's all right. The graphic is wrong. That's fine. I thought he'd only done 5 laps on his hards, in which case he was definitely going to stop again. But yeah, I think he's going to be hard pushed to get that amount of fuel to last 13 laps. So, but what is important is that he has got in front of Nono out of the pit, which is big for Perez, because when his tyres start to go off, if they start to go off before he has to pit again, Nono is going to be held up. He's going to be pushed back into Perez, and that might be the saving grace for Perez, because right now 2.1 seconds. I don't know how well his chances are looking at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly no danger of the Hungarian holding anyone up at the moment. Fastest lap of the race last time around, and as long as he finishes in the top 10, he will get a point for that, and soon he'll be taking the actual lead of the race as Solid Ninja Snake and Yusugo come into the pits, and it looks as though Petty's going even faster this time around. We'll see what the time is as he comes across the line. 1:39.942 then from him. Nuno didn't really get an idea of what his time is. Of course, first lap out of the pits, 2 seconds gap now ahead of Yazhi Perez, who has got quite a bit less fuel, so may have to do some more fuel saving at the end of this stint. If he gets in the slipstream, you wouldn't think that would help him. Hasnain in 4th place, also looking like he'll be coming into the pits again. Kepro in 5th. I mean, he's lost out because of that puncture, of course, but it did seem to happen quite late on, so still not looking in too bad of a position here. I think his main worry is going to be Solid Ninja Snake, about 4.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think Ninja Snake, Jamie's on more mediums. He had that instant. He's definitely got to stop again with that fuel load, so he's not really in the equation. Kepro is on hards. I think Ninja Snake is a class driver on those harder tyres, so I think it's possibly going to be between those two for P3. Perez now 2.5 seconds behind Nono. I think that Nono's class is just showing through again. Harder compound you go, the bigger the gaps between the drivers are going to get. That is just how it works. The flaws in anyone's driving style are really shown up by those hard tyres, especially in their pretty miserable state at the moment that they're in this current time. As Perez goes off as well, oh, he catches it just off the grass. That is a big moment, and frankly I think that might just be game over for the race lead.
Yes, well held, sir. I think definitely there from Perez. Came very close to what would have been an absolutely enormous shot. Would have caused major damage to his car. Certainly would have been game over for his chances of getting the victory, and possibly even for getting second place. Would have been that big of an accident. But yeah, Perez losing lots of time on that lap. 1:43.1 all of a sudden. 1.5 seconds, and Nunu now 3.5 seconds in the net lead of this race. Petty Pet still flying around at the front of the field, and as Brownski said, he's currently, just checking, he's currently 25 seconds ahead of Solid Ninja Snake, and of course, later on, we'll be able to go for a bit of a splash and dash, and we'll have very fresh tyres, so interesting to see what he does. Cristiano as well, despite his incident earlier on, he's got a lot more fuel saving to do. He's only 2 seconds behind Ninja Snake. We'll wait and see what their lap time comparisons are once Ninja Snake has done a full lap on his set of the medium tyres. YRS in 9th, Shut and Go in 10th place, Diogo Mora in 11th, Play the V for 12 from Ramirez. He's been in the pits for 16 minutes now. I think it's safe to say his race is over. It's just all looking good for Nono again, and I think Chris said in the Discord earlier, I've not had as much chance to practice. I think we saw that in the first race with a few mistakes. Probably the first time he's driven on the hard tyres for a while as well, so not surprising. We're just seeing the odd little chink in the armour. Yeah,
absolutely. The practice, when the margins are this fine, an extra 10 laps of practice can make all the difference. If you can get a feel for a stint on the hards, you know what to expect when you're coming into it. When you're coming out of that pit lane on cold hard tyres with a full tank of fuel, and you're braking over a blind crest into turn 1 with a gravel trap an inch off the edge of the circuit, the lack of confidence is just where you're going to be losing the time. And I think, as you say, that little bit less practice is what is undoing today. I mean, in more positive notes, incredible stint from Petty Bet this. He is stretching the gap to the cars he's racing with. He's now 26 seconds clear of Ninja Snake, 27 clear of Cristiano, and 31 clear of YRS. I think Petty, if he pits onto those mediums, a quick splash of fuel, 10 laps is enough time for them to utilise the pace, but not wear out too much. He could be in with a shout of a top 5 finish here.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun little last stint, I think, here for Petty. Let's not forget Hasnain as well. very, well, I'd say certainly that he's going to have to make his way back into the pits. And Jamie, he's tried the same thing as Petty. It's just not quite worked out for him. Has recovered after that incident between him. So, nearly having another accident all by himself. I was about to say he's recovered from that accident with Hasdane on lap number 1 and nearly sent it straight into the wall there. Coming out of turn number 5, catching the curbs in this Ferrari is certainly a killer. Now that is going to start holding up Solid Ninja Stake, which is the last thing that he needs because he's got Cristiano all over the back of him, who, let's not forget, if it wasn't for that disconnection, we could well be seeing Cristiano up there towards the front of the order this time around. Jamie, I think quite wisely there, decided I've got no interest whatsoever in being in that battle. You two go on ahead, have your own little race.
Yeah, he's got no interest in being involved in that. I think he's right at the end of his fuel life as well, so he's going to be making his entrance to the pit. In comes Petty Bet then, and I wonder where he's going to come out. He's about a 35 to 40 second pit lane loss, so he's got a lot of time to make up, but it remains to be seen just how much of a time he can make up when he returns on a fresh set of mediums. He'll need probably only about 2/3 of a tank of fuel, something like that, to get into the end of the race. He is going to be a serious contender for that final podium spot, I think.
Yeah, certainly. Serious contender for it possibly at the moment, though, is Cristiano. He's looking pretty good round the outside at turn number 1. Can he hold the gap on Solid Ninja Stake? Fantastic move from Cristiano. Gets himself up towards 5th place. Now Kepler is going to be his next target. And are we going to see Cristiano go heavy on the fuel saving? He'd need to with half a tank to get that 10 laps, or are we going to see him just push all out and go for those medium tyres? But that was a beautiful move from the Italian. He is
the type of
towards
move
5th place.
Gets you signed to Vanquish. That is what Vanquish Esports look for in the driver, and he's put it on display there.
Yeah, definitely fantastic job from him. Petty's come out in 9th place. Bad news for him. He's in all sorts of traffic. You can see Diogo Mora just ahead of him. Look at the extra grip he's got on the tyres here, trying to get alongside in towards the next braking zone up the hill. This is going to get very tight indeed. Diogo just about leaves him enough space down the inside in towards the braking zone. And that is going to be Petty, surely, you'd imagine. Diogo fighting for all his worth, but Petty does eventually take that 8th place. Needs to get ahead of Juttengo as soon as possible. Gap to a potential podium place, which we're looking at being kept below. It's probably 12 seconds with 10 laps to go, so he's got a lot of racing to do here.
Yeah, but Caparo is on the hard tyre. I think Cristiano is probably the main threat, and he is on a much more worn set of tyres. So Ramirez has exited the pits after 15 minutes, so he's getting in the way nicely. So I think, Cristiano is looking, I think 12 seconds in that time, 10 seconds is possible. That delta is big between the hards and between the worn and the fresh mediums. So providing you can get through the traffic quick, it is possible for him, I think.
Yeah, and I do still think we are going to have to see Cristiano come into the pits again. I can't see him just really sliding his way around turn number 4 there. Just caught the gravel on the way into the braking zone, which is not what you want to be doing whatsoever, as Kepler kicks up all sorts of dust on the way out of turn number 5. The laps Cristiano are setting on those mediums, he's not saving any fuel or any tyres whatsoever. He's pushing like crazy, and we will be seeing him on the mediums later on. But I mean, if you're in this situation, surely if you're Cristiano, is it worth coming in earlier on just to make sure you've got the best life of the tyres and to possibly get yourself that tiny bit of free air? I mean, he's all over the back of Kepler here. Round the outside isn't going to work. Gets the better exit, of course, with the better tyres. Beautiful cutback. That's Cristiano in towards 3rd place. I just feel like he's doing all this battling for nothing at the moment.
Yeah, he's costing himself time by battling in traffic when he may have to make another stop. It's whether he goes off there and he's doing all this hard work to be undone. It's whether he feels like he's gaining time at the moment over the cars he thinks he's racing. So I presume that would be, Ninja Snake a bit further back, or possibly Diogo, Hasnane, someone like that. Does he feel like on this time he's still gaining time? If he does, then he's happy to stay on it, because even if he pits, he wants to maximise the stint every time. as I say that, in he comes, because yes, he's going to need a new set and possibly a little splash of fuel. So now he's going to be coming into play, not for the podium, but maybe if he can do it, maybe a points finish at least, I think will be a realistic aim for him. Diogo in as well, not enough fuel for the rest of the race.
Yeah, Diogo into the pits. Hasdane coming out in 9th place then after his pit stop. Lee the Reaper is in 10th place. Jamie in 11th. YRS in 12th. We haven't spoken about him for a while. He has had showed so much good pace in sprint race, showed so much good pace in this one, but he has had a bit of a nightmare in this. Effectively, with Ramirez being about 9 laps down at the moment, YRS effectively in last place, but is going to gain on Diogo here on the way out of the pits, or is he? Diogo's going to come out onto the circuit. YRS so much more overspeed. Thank you very much. And that is YRS up into 11th place. We'll see whether he can gain on the cars ahead of him. Cristiano has come out in 8th place, 2 seconds behind Hasdane, 15 seconds behind Go, who is on those hard tyres. So it is possible, Hasdane and Cristiano here, with that tyre advantage of the mediums. That could be an interesting battle later on between themselves and Go, especially if he has any slight mistakes. Fuel-wise, just looking at the entire field's fuel usage at the moment, no one really looking too concerning. Capro on about half a tank, so he could possibly be borderline. With a tiny bit of fuel saving, should be able to get him out of trouble with that one. What it would do, though, is cause him all sorts of trouble in terms of track position. Solid Ninja Snake right on the back of the Italian for the final podium place.
Yeah, he's really making the medium tyres work for him against the hards, and I think this is an inevitability here that Caparo is delaying by defending. I mean, unless Ninja Snake puts it in the gravel, I think this is going to be a fairly simple move coming up soon. There he goes, gets the ideal line. He's going to go side by side through the right and the left, and that will be that move done. I think if Caparo has got any sense about him, he's going to let that one go for now. If you're going on half a tank as being the borderline, then Yassi Perez is in some serious trouble, because he has got probably about just over 40% fuel left with 6.5 laps remaining, excuse me. So I think it could be borderline for him, and he doesn't appear to really be doing much fuel saving or anything, despite the fact he is now hemorrhaging time to Nono in front.
Yeah, and he's sort of in a position where there's no reason whatsoever why he couldn't be fuel saving. I think he made a mistake, on that last lap, 1:43.322, but he's 7 seconds off Nono. He's not catching that up in 6 laps barring a mistake. He's 15.5 seconds ahead of Solid Ninja Snake. Bit of short sifting, bit of lift of coast. Should be no problem whatsoever for Perez to get towards the end of this race, as long as he realises that. If he has to come in late on for a quick splash and dash, could be in all sorts of trouble, and even possibly chances of the podium falling away. Petty Pet is now 7 seconds off the back of Capello, as that is remained, 6 seconds off the back of Capello, 7 seconds off the back of Solid Ninja Snake in that own little battle that they've going on. 1:40.417 on the last lap for Petty Pet. Now that Solid Ninja Snake's in some free air, still only a 1:41.5 on that lap. So we'll see what the Hungarian is like on this one, just to give us an idea whether it's possible. Yeah, 1:40.151. He's gaining about 1.5 seconds a lap. So, 2 or 3 laps to go. He's going to be right in this fight for a podium. It could all depend on how quickly he gets ahead of Kepler, though.
Yeah, absolutely. He has got to jump Caparo and have pretty much a perfect lap after that. I think realistic targeting, he's going to want to be ahead of Caparo by the end of lap 25 to give himself a realistic chance of catching and passing Ninja Snake. Ninja Snake's medium's much older, but and he's not making the most of them either. He is about over a second a lap slower than Petty is at the moment on the medium. So I think he's got to make the most of the tyres. He's got to get that move done as soon as he catches up to the back of him. He can't catch him at the wrong time, gets stuck behind him through the final sector. It's got to be a quick move, and then if you can get that done in a couple of laps, I reckon he's in a good shot at P3.
Yeah, certainly. So other potential moves that are happening. I mean, Hasdane last lap around 2.5 seconds on Yes and Go, so you never know whether that one is going to happen. Cristiano trying to just follow along with him at the moment. 3 seconds is that gap. It all looks fairly spread out further down the field. YRS and Diogo Mora, 1.5 seconds between them, but that'll be a battle for pride more than anything, as Diogo on the soft tyres, which I'm fairly sure is not allowed, so he could be getting himself in a little bit of trouble.
How did he manage that?
Yeah, who knows?
That's interesting. No, well, yeah, that's I mean, he's not scoring a point anyway, but that will be a DSQ for him. Admittedly, that shouldn't have been possible, but yeah, that's a DSQ. Everyone was quite clearly briefed, even if the softs are available, mediums and hards only. So yeah, unfortunate for him. It's been a tough afternoon with the traction control glitch and then ending up on completely the wrong compound of tyre. But there we go. That's how it goes sometimes. Petty at less than 3 seconds behind Caprio now. It is going to get tasty in, I reckon, a lap.
Yeah, could also be important about where he catches him up on the circuit as well. If he does, if he starts getting onto the back of him at this point, it might be a bit difficult. He might have to do a bit of follow the leader. If he gets within half a second out of the final proper corner, might be able to send one in towards turn number 1 on the much better tyres. But already you can see, just lost a bit of time on that last lap. Gets very close to the wall on the exit of turn number 6. Just needs to avoid doing anything silly. For now, he is doing enough to possibly, well, probably, I think we could say, get himself into 4th place. Possibly get himself onto that podium as well. Okay, 9/10 of a second on solid interstate on the previous lap. Back towards the leader, though. We've not seen him for a while, just because he's been doing such a good job on his own at the front of the field. 4 laps to go. Prima Nono now 8.7 seconds. That gap. And Yazhi Prez, I think, maybe realising now that he has started saving that little bit more fuel, saving that little bit more tyres. It's been a valiant run to what will probably be 2nd place. He does run out of fuel towards the end of this race, though. Who knows? That battle between Solid, Capello and Petty could all of a sudden have a slight chance of getting themselves the possibility of 2nd place. Gap between the Italian and the Hungarian 4th, though, is now below a second. So, the way it's been looking, this is going to be the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. That lap just a little bit off the pace there, a 40.9 compared to the 40.1 and the 40.4 I think it was he did previously. So time well on the medium starting to come through, but I think coming up against hards with even more wear on, this should be a formality, frankly. Cristiano pits, I presume he's going for a fastest lap because he thinks he's got space. Yeah, that might, maybe not, or is he running out of fuel? I don't know what he's done. Cristiano pits out of a points paying position. That's interesting. Here we go then. Petty is coming right up behind into the church corner. It's going to be a long way around to try it around the outside of there. He's going to look to the inside for the exit. Oh, a little bit of contact, but not too bad. And there he is. That's through. That is what he needed to do. No time wasted. Even at an unorthodox overtaking position, he's got that 4.7 seconds to an interstate on more worn medium tyres. Can he do it? I think it's a tall order, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, has definitely, like you said, stopped gaining at the rate of knots that he was doing earlier on. And we saw in that first race for sprint from solid interstate, the tyres sort of hit that first cliff where the pace just dropped off and they weren't able to maintain the same performance. Maybe that's what Petty's just starting to hit now, and maybe that is why Solid has been a bit more careful on his tyres, just to stretch that little bit of life out of them. Cristiano, yeah, not quite sure what's happened here, but he is remaining in the pits. Not sure if he's had some sort of issue, but this could be another retirement for Cristiano. Such a shame. He showed fantastic pace. It looks like it's all going to be for nothing, which means YRS should, Diogo obviously being on the soft tyres, YRS should get the final points position in this race. And there's that other battle that we said should start heating up. Hasdane to Juttengo. 3 laps to go. Gap between the two of them, 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, Hasdane chasing him down, and this is where the tyre delta comes into it. John on the hard tyre, Hasdane on the mediums. He's got that pace. He's in a good rhythm. He's been pretty consistent. He's only been 300ths off the fastest lap. He's at a 39.977 compared to the 9.42 that's the fastest lap. Then a couple of consistent mid-40s laps. He's looking pretty solid here. Again, he's got to get the move done pretty quickly. Capiro is in another postcode, really 10 seconds up the road, but P6 for Hasdane, considering the trials and tribulations he's faced in the 2 races that we've had this afternoon. I think he can be pretty satisfied with his recovery drives in both cases.
Yeah, definitely. Let's not forget 3-second penalty, the only penalty I think we've seen so far in the sprint or the feature race. Touch wood for that pit lane infringement on the entry or possibly on the exit, we think more than likely, and involved in a big shot earlier on with Jamie. Sportingly weighted, exactly what you'd expect from Hasdane, really. It looks like he is still going to be able to get some very handy 5 points from this race if he can get ahead of Justin Go to go with the 2 that he got earlier on from the sprint race. Gap between Petty and Solid Ninja State. Petty, I mean, he did gain on that lap, but it's just not doing enough all of a sudden. It's 3 seconds. The gap between the 2 of them. Solid having a bit of a, not a solid lap whatsoever that time around. 1.3 seconds gained on that lap. Ninja State just needs to, you know, just needs to be careful here. Another lap like that, and he could leave himself vulnerable going on to the final one.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at his tyre wear on Ninja Snake's car, that right rear tyre is getting dangerously close to the region of the puncture of that proper cliff coming towards him at the end. So he's just got to nurse it home. He can afford to drop 8/10 of a second a lap and probably still stay in front, especially when Petty's doing things like that, getting caught on the grass on the exit of the chicane. That's not going to help his case at all. He does have the superior tyre life, but can he make up 2.6 seconds and a pass in a lap and a half? I think it's not going to happen for him.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be just a tiny bit too much. Maybe 1 or 2 laps. We could have seen Petty get that chance at a podium, but it looks like he is just going to miss out. Hasdane, though, doesn't look like he's going to miss out on Yosago at the moment. John having to do some severe defending, I think, if he wants to hold on to this 6th place, which would have been a fantastic result, especially considering I think he started outside the top 10 in this feature race. So he's really done a brilliant job as core of a strategy fantastically. That superb tyre management on the medium tyres really helping him get into this position. Maybe now to starting on those mediums, not looking like the best idea as Hasnane darts one way, then the other. Can't do anything at this point in the circuit. It is going to be all about turn number 1 as the leaders have come on to the final lap of the race. But we're going to carry on with this battle for now. Hasdane in behind, gets a better run, gets in the slipstream. This Yosago going to have to go defensive in towards turn number 1. Yeah, Hasdane has a bit of that was a lag, but he did lose some time through that section of the circuit. He's closing, but he's not going to be within range headed into turn number 1. We'll see whether Hasdane can get it done further on in the lap.
It's going to be that hairpin on the back straight. He's got to get it absolutely right now through this section here, through the chicane, through the church corner, and up that hill to that sharp left-hander, the braking zone on the back straight. That is going to be his final opportunity. There is a slight opportunity if you get a good run into the final sort of real corner, that left-hand hairpin at the end of the straight. Can he actually make the move into the church corner? We've seen it once before today. Is he going to go for it? He does, up the inside. John will look for the cutback. It's a big slide from Hasnane, and now Hasnane's going to be on the defensive into the hairpin at the back straight, and it's single file after that. Has he gone too early with it?
Yeah, we'll just try and see what happens with this battle before we do change towards the leaders. Hasdane and Yosago are going to go side by side here. We're going to miss the leaders crossing the line because this is such a fantastic battle between all of them, and Yosago not able to get the cut back there. No crosses the line though to take the victory. A comfortable win from him. Yazheet Prez is going to finish in 2nd place. You can see how his pace dropped off as he had to start to do some saving right towards the end there. And Solid Ninja Snake is going to hold on for another podium. Top 3 in the sprint race, being the top 3 in this feature race. Petty tried the 2-stop strategy, almost made it work. 4th place, a very respectable result for him. Capello comes across the line and he will take 5th place, and it will be Hasdane in the end able to hold on, take 6th place. Yosago following him home in 7th place. Quite a bit of a wait for Jamie. Diogo Mora showing in 9th, but on those soft tyres he will be disqualified, so it will be YRS in 9th place and it will be Lee the Reaper in 10th. But again, another untouchable performance for Nono, and a bit like the sprint race, as soon as it got onto that harder set of rubber, it's just able to find times that no one else could, which is going to be pretty ominous heading into next week at Catalonia.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a fantastic performance from the French driver at the front. Never really looked under threat, even when the gap was at about a second. He just had Prez's number the whole way through. Prez too thirsty with the fuel, too heavy on the tyres, couldn't quite make it work today. But if he does get a bit more practice time for next week at Catalonia, without the chicane as well, might I add, we are going for the old school Formula 1 layout. You never know what he could do. Valiant effort by Petty to gain a 1.5 seconds in that final lap to make it just 1.1 seconds between the two. Maybe he needed another lap in the race to try and get that move done. And John, great shout out, fantastic first stint for him. And Julie gets his reward with a very solid P7.
Yeah, we'll get some very nice 4 points for all that. Pettit will also get, of course, the point for the fastest lap as well. So, not bad whatsoever for him on that alternate strategy. But the winner, and I don't think there's any surprise with this one, Prima Nono, fantastic performance from him. Quite a dominant victory in the end. And we'll wait and see if we can get any of our top 3. Well, top 3 for the feature race, but also our top 3 from the sprint race to see whether any of them will join us for interviews there. Just, you know, Prima Nono in a slightly bit of a different league to everyone else. Did a fantastic job. Fez looked close in the early stages, but once his mistakes started creeping in again, it was game over.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that, you know, Prez, he is an extremely fast driver. He's one of the fastest drivers in the world over one lap. He's astonishingly good. But in that race format, you know, that consistency really, really paid off. And Prima Nono does take a deserving win there. And if he can maintain that consistency throughout the whole series, then it's certainly pretty ominous for the rest of the grid. But yeah, I mean that's been a great first couple of races to watch. From a personal point of view, as an admin of the league, I'm really happy with how the strategies played out. And we did have close racing. Putting drivers in equal cars is always going to level the playing field and bring everyone closer together. And I am glad that we got to see some alternate strategies in close racing. Yeah, it's been a fantastic evening for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right until the end, we didn't know who was going to get a podium. We didn't know who was going to, you know, perhaps get some other places. But we'll wait and see what happens. And we'll wait and see if we can hear from some of our drivers, including our race winner. Then we'll drag Prima Nono in. Fantastic performance from yourself today, Nono. Just seemed on the hard tyres that you had so much better pace than everyone else. Oh, he has unfortunately just popped out. Well, hopefully, we'll try with Prez. Prez, can you hear us?
I think we have got someone in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. He has got shown himself shown as muted at the moment. So, Prez, can you hear us?
Yes. Hi, Luke. How are you? Hi, Harry.
We are good, thanks. Congratulations, 2 second places today. It just seemed as though when it came to the harder tyres, Nono was just in a different league.
It was kind of a hectic race with fuel saving and tire saving and all of it. And considering, I mean, Nono is an insane driver, as you guys probably know. Considering I barely put in any time in for practice, I just came from uni and just went in and drove. I'll take it, to be honest. I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fantastic performance for yourself. It was quite a long way away, a long time ago now, but way back towards back towards the sprint race. Tried a fantastic move round the outside into turn number 1 on Cristiano. Didn't quite pay off. Were you always going to be a bit more aggressive in that sprint race, especially early on the soft tyres?
I mean, to be fair, I want to be, I don't know, like Cristiano apologized on a private message. I did get hit in turn 1, and usually I would never try to go for that move, but I had such a good run, so I went for it. But yeah, it just didn't work out. But thankfully we got back to second, and we managed to stay in second for the whole race after some mistakes. But yeah,
it was definitely a great race from yourself. Harry, any questions for our second place man?
Just to obviously understand that it's slightly last minute that your participation in the race. If obviously ideally we will have you on the grid again at Catalonia, do you feel like the next couple of tracks will suit you better than this one, or do you feel like this was one of your stronger tracks, or will you be expecting better results later on?
I mean, that's a really good question, Harry, and to be honest, I'm gonna be real, this Ferrari is really tricky to drive. So whatever the track, it's gonna be really tricky to drive, and it's gonna require a lot of tire saving. To be honest, I don't really mind the track. I mean, if I practice correctly, I think I'm gonna adapt really quickly to the track. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it goes better in Catalonia, and I'm really looking forward for that wet race if I'm able to race. Like if I will have the chance to race.
Yeah, excellent. That's fantastic. I think yeah, the wet race is certainly going to be something that that throws a spanner in the works for a lot of people with this car, with how happy it is. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Luke and Harry.
No worries. Thanks, Prez, for joining us. Our second place man, Yazzie Prez. So it looks like unfortunately we're not going to be able to get No back in. So that is pretty much it from what I'm sure we've already said it, Harry. It's been two absolutely fantastic
I can
races.
get him in. I can get him in. I can get him in.
This is going to be interesting. What we're waiting
he
for,
doesn't. I'm gonna have to translate a bit for him. Okay, he's coming. He's on his way.
Just wait a couple of minutes. Here we go.
Is it a problem if I translate? Is it a problem if I translate?
No problem whatsoever. I think there's quite a few people wishing my voice had been translated over the past couple of seasons in different countries.
Yeah.
I myself am going to sign off for the evening. As an admin, I now have things to do. So thank you very much, Luke, for commentating and for having me. Thank you to all the drivers and everyone who is watching. And it's been a pleasure being back in the commentary box. I used to do some commentary many years ago on the F1 games. So, but hopefully I might get the opportunity again in the future. So well done to everyone, and we'll see you later.
Yep, thank you.
See you, Harry. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Harry, for joining us. And we have got our race winner, Prima Nono, with us. Congratulations on the win, Nono. A fantastic performance from yourself in the sprint and the feature race. Was it as easy as it looked?
Alors Nono, il te dit ici qu'il te félicite pour tes 2 victoires et il te demande de parler de tes résultats dans la sprint et la feature race.
Oh, mais c'est chaud là.
Non, dis-le en français, t'inquiète, dis-le en français.
Ah, mais il va comprendre.
Je vais le traduire.
Ok. Bah ouais, c'était une super course. J'étais pas très à l'aise avec les tendres. Mais sur le relais de médium et des hards, j'étais plus à l'aise et j'ai pu creuser l'écart.
Yeah, so Nono is saying that he wasn't really comfortable with the softs, and but on the mediums and hards he was really fast, and he managed to pull away and secure it, bring it back home.
Yeah, you seem to be able to manage your tyres and manage your fuel better than most of the field. Is that something you've been practicing ahead of this race?
Alors, il te dit que tu arrives à bien conserver tes pneus et l'usure et l'essence. Tu trouves que c'est quelque chose de bien comparé aux autres?
Bah ouais, c'est super important parce que tu vois l'écart que le tour que j'ai pu faire en plus sur toi, bah ça a déterminé la suite de la course, donc ouais, c'est super important.
So Nono is saying that yeah, it's the most important thing in the race, and it actually paid off when he actually managed to do 1 extra lap on the mediums, which cost me a lot of time. And he said that it's really the most important thing while racing in a high tire rate and high fuel rate race.
Yes, certainly is. 2 wins out of 2 tonight. Do you think you can repeat it in Catalonia?
Alors il te dit ici il te demande si il te dit que tu as gagné 2 sur 2 courses et il te demande si tu peux gagner si tu peux répéter ça à Catalonia.
Ok. Bah ouais, c'est clair. Après, c'est sûr que je me suis plutôt entraîné beaucoup sur ce combo. Et Catalunya, j'ai plus de difficultés, mais bon, je vais essayer de m'entraîner au max.
Alright, so Nono said that he kind of practiced a lot for this combo. He says that Catalonia is a bit harder for him, but he's gonna do his best nonetheless.
Sure you will, no. Congratulations on the win, and thanks for coming for the interview.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Luke. See you later.
Yeah, big thanks as well, obviously, to Prez for translating that one. Very much appreciated. Makes me wish I'd spent the 200 odd days on Duolingo learning French rather than Spanish, but oh well. Congratulations to our top two. Congratulations to Solid Ninja Snake as well, who finished in third place. And congratulations to the entire field for what was a brilliant race. We will be back next week at Catalonia. I believe it will be Webbo and possibly Harry joining you there, as I am away on work commitments, so make sure to check that one out. I'm also away on work tomorrow, which is why it's going to be George Morgan and King Kodiak, aka Chris Buxton, round number 3 of PSGL F2 for season 32 in that one, so make sure to check that out, and the rest of the Zandvoort action on Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday and Monday. But for myself, Luke Etheridge, thank you so much for joining. Thanks to Harry for dipping into the commentary box as well, and we'll see you in a week's time at Catalonia. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.